Hello world. This week's program is right. This week's show is Run Program Dum-e by Amuly. And every week somebody has a name, and I hope like hell I'm not mispronouncing it horribly, because I know what it's like to have a mispronounced name. It's irritating as fuck. So anyways, it is all from Dum-e's perspective. Almost all from Dum-e's perspective. Starts kind of just after the original Avengers. No, it would start after Iron Man 3, which is post-Avengers. So Iron Man 3, because AIM is in it a time or two. And I don't know if Tony still has the arc reactor in it. I don't think it's really ever said. So, anyways, that's not a big thing. It's sort of a Steve and Tony story. Cannot talk today. I've only had like 4 sips of coffee. I needed to have more. Anyways, so it's from Dum-e's perspective. You get a little flashback of when he was originally created. But that's a little later in the story. The start of it is pretty much Steve and Tony arguing, and Dum-e smushing Steve out of the lab because they're arguing and they're fighting, and Dum-e protects Tony at all cost to anything except maybe Tony. Well, maybe not except Tony, because we've seen how Dum-e can be. And that's why he's called Dum-e. Anyways, you find out some of the protocols that Tony has built in, or that Dum-e has put in for himself. Because he does learn, and he does create his own little programs independent of what Tony has given him. He's not as advanced as Jarvis or Friday later, but he does learn. And I'm about to be attacked by a little orange cat, so if I scream, that's why. Okay, he just jumped up here to be next to me. Axel is in the house. Axel, say hi again. Yes, everybody thought you were very cute last time. Go play. Don't crawl up Grandma's leg or down Grandma's leg. Thanks. Don't snag my new socks either, brat. So, some of the protocols for Dum-e is... I have a Dum-e of my own. Some of the protocols for Dum-e are at 12 hours, he needs to make sure Tony eats. The problem is the only thing he really knows how to make towards the beginning is toast. Although there is the smoothies, but those don't really count in the food category, so to speak, for Dum-e. So he makes Tony toast a lot. And when Tony's been awake for more than 72 hours, then he tries to badger him into going to bed, which is just basically bringing a blanket to him over and over and over again until either Tony caves and goes to bed, or until he gets so pissed at Dum-e he bans him from the lab, which happens more than once in the story because Dum-e is very diligent about taking care of his master, his creator. This needs to be done. You need to sleep, master. You put this in here. Somebody put this in here. You need to eat. I'm gonna have no furniture left by the time these animals are full grown, and learn not to scratch things. Pumpkin spice latte with 2 pumps of white mocha. Pumpkin pie in a cup. Yes, I'm a white girl. I'm okay with this. Anyways, so I mentioned that AIM is in the story a little bit. Well, AIM breaks into the tower at one point, and this is at a 12-hour mark where Tony hasn't eaten, and so Dum-e has made him toast. Well, AIM breaks in, and Dum-e throws the toast at the AIM soldiers, trying to get them to leave, which is cute and just completely adorable. My foot is not prey. It just made it. Oh, I wish I had a camera for that. He just tried to like do a leaping bounce up to me. Totally didn't have the spring right and kind of just. Bleh. Sorry. Look, see, I'm not crazy. There is a cat here, I promise. I'm still not gonna have any furniture by the time he's old enough to learn to stop scratching at all. Anyways, so yeah, AIM breaks in and he throws toast at them, and they're kind of baffled by it, which is good because it gives Steve and Tony time to, you know, dispatch them in whatever way is suitable. But, anyways, sorry. Losing my train of thought. The Cap comes down and talks to Tony a lot. And at that point, he's still Cap. He's not Steve yet. So he talks to Dum-e like we would a person. Which kind of cracks Tony up because Dum-e is not his favorite. Liar. It's not his favorite bot, and oh, I need to clean my office so my cat has less things to attack. So he's talking to him, and Dum-e kind of learns a little bit from Steve. He learns to listen and kind of a little more comprehension because Steve talks to him like a normal person, where Tony doesn't. Tony, as much as he's a good robot dad, he kind of sticks to the original limitations that Dum-e had to start with, forgetting that he did teach him to learn. He's not as advanced as Jarvis or Friday. But, sorry, I have a horrible dry spot in the back of my throat. He doesn't learn as well as they do, but he does learn. His responses are limited by his entityness to what his form is. He's got the one claw and four wheels, and that's kind of it. So some of his responses are limited to that, but, and that kind of changes a little bit in the second set, because it is a 2-part series. And I'm hoping they'll add more, but we'll see. So Steve talking to Dum-e ends up creating his own happy program and listening program and all these little subroutines. And he finds Steve finds out that he only makes toast for Tony. So he teaches Dum-e how to make Tony's favorite sandwich. And so now he has a subroutine for that. So he does this, and he wants to learn how to make Steve's favorite sandwich. So he goes to his creator. And Tony's like, I don't know what Cap's favorite sandwich is. Go ask Cap. So he goes, Jarvis translates what he wants, and it makes Steve a little leery because apparently his favorite sandwich includes tomatoes, which are smushy. And maybe not the easiest thing in the world for a one-clawed robot to try and cut up. But hey, it's a good thing. And so they go on and they're taking care of each other a little bit all around. And Steve spends time outside of the lab with Dum-e. Dum-e comes and watches baseball with him, which kind of leads to some interrupted shenanigans at some point because there's a baseball game on. And Steve's not watching it. So Dum-e goes to get him. And this is when you officially find out that this is a Steve and Tony story, because Dum-e rolls in and Dad and Dad having dad time. Alone. With no casings. So that's a little interesting. Kind of cute. Of, no, Dum-e, go away. You can't watch this. It's a robot, Steve. I don't care. He needs to go away. So, it's very cute. There's a couple kisses before that, so you know that they're coming. That it's a scenario that's going to happen. But it's still cute when you get to it. And then, poor Thor. Apparently in this version, Thor is always putting out electrical fields, which is always messing with Tony's stuff. And Dum-e is not shielded for any of it. He cannot be around Thor at all, even just in a resting state, which Thor finds very sad because he wants to play catch with Dum-e, because Steve has taught him how to play catch. And he can't, because he tries to fry him like 3 different times. Tony gets a little pissed about it. But the first time he fries poor Dum-e out, Tony adds some extra stuff. Just updates a little bit here and there. Gives him a new set of wheels and a slightly better motor. And hey, now Dum-e can keep up with Steve while running. So Steve gets a new running partner. Which pops into the other chapter section of the series. We also have glimpses of Tony's snarkness. Because Coulson's in it. So it's post Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but the Avengers know he's there. Which I haven't watched the newest season, so I don't know if he's ever gotten around to actually telling them that he's not dead. Which is irritating as shit. Could we just get this done and over with? This Tahiti shit's for the birds. Anyway, so Tony's snark comes out. Because when Coulson's around, Dum-e writes, and I gotta read this all the way across, ha, 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 suck it, Coulson program. Which is basically stand right next to Coulson every time he's in a room with Dum-e and stay next to Coulson the whole time. So it's a little goofy. And then we have, we also, later you will find the protocol for Fury and Clint and Maria. You find out that Tony's not real thrilled with any of the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents except for Natasha. And basically, I think that's only because he's scared to death of Natasha. So, hey, you know, it's all good. Eventually, Steve finds out that Dum-e can draw. Tony has given him 3 drawing programs. The first one is the Stark logo. Simple, easy. Works pretty good. And then there's a map. And it takes Tony coming into the room and a conversation for Steve to find out it's actually the map of MIT. And the third thing he can draw is blueprints to a toaster. And apparently at one point he also had Tony's signature as a drawing program. And he had to take it away from him the same day he gave it to Dum-e, because by the end of the day, he owned a toaster company. So, it's kind of cute. Steve's like, well, why'd you have to take it away? And he's like, you know, fear of falling into the wrong hands? Tony's like, no, just his hands. I owned a toaster company by the end of the day. And the reason toast is a giant thing in this whole story is originally Tony built Dum-e to make toast for a science fair competition thing. Limited AI kind of thing, which at the time was massively advanced. Because you gotta remember, Tony is only a couple years older than me. I'm 41. I think he's 5 years older than me. 4 or 5 years older than me. So when he was doing this competition in the I think it's like the mid 80s, he's like, 15, 16. And he built a robot to make toast. And it did very well. And he does other things. So, Dum-e's 30 some odd years old and, maybe not quite 30, but almost. But still, it's cute and fun. And it won Tony an award, a couple $100 that he could, care less about. And hoped some attention from Howard. That did not happen. We all know how Howard is in this universe. Schmack. Bad parents. We suck. Sorry. Anyways. So, Fury's program is, by the way, sorry, bad segue, Shoe Fury. Which is just Dum-e bumping into Fury until he leaves. And there's a sub one, because Tony has said the only thing he wants for his birthday is Fury's eye patch. So there's also program Take Eye Patch. Yeah. Steve stops that. Clint kind of needs to remember that if Dum-e is guarding a door, there's probably a reason to it, which him getting mad at Steve and Tony for doing Steve and Tony time in their own bedroom when Dum-e's guarding the door and he sees naked ass, that's your own fault. You ignored all of the signs. Sorry, dude. The image of Tony giving it to Steve is stuck in your head. If brain bleach existed, I wouldn't give it to you because you deserved it. You walked in on that. Spider-Man pops in. He calls them mom and dad, but refuses to say who is mom and who is dad. So, it's kind of cute. He tells Dum-e if he doesn't have any time for... Tony doesn't have time for maintenance, just to let him know, and he'll come take care of him, because he's a good little bit bot. And Halloween pops up, and Halloween is very cute because Dum-e dresses himself up. Steve goes as Pete Rose, because he's a huge baseball fan. Not sure why Pete Rose, but okay, whatever. Tony goes as himself, and Dum-e makes his own costume, which is basically just a sign propped on the front of him that says Steve. But Steve decides that Dum-e needs a date for Halloween, so he dresses the toaster up like Eve from WALL-E. And Dum-e runs Program Happy about 5 times. Because he's really happy that he has a date, and he's really happy it's Eve. And then I think we get to the part where maybe Bucky pops up into the world. Maybe Winter Soldier happens. Because Steve is very depressed. And Tony mentions something about maybe he's not as good he's not the Howling Commanders, but he does have ears and he will listen. So I'm thinking it's probably Winter Soldier-ish time. But Steve being depressed and sad really confuses the hell out of poor Dum-e. He doesn't really know how to take it. It's very hard for him to understand because that's not Steve's personality. This is an error in Steve's program that Dum-e really needs Tony to fix. So he goes and gets Tony and just badgers him to follow him until they go. And then, sorry, too many reminders of emails. So Tony eventually gets Steve into a bath, and Dum-e kind of just hangs out and watches and makes sure that the error has been taken care of. And it is. It's not an overnight thing, but it does happen. And then we're at the end of November, and Christmas cookies are being made. And Dum-e is helping. Except Steve forgot or doesn't really know that you kind of have to tell Dum-e beforehand that fire extinguishers are not allowed in the kitchen and that the stove and oven are safe things. So the first batch of Christmas cookies are a little frosty in a non-edible way. But that's okay, because there's more dough. And, oh yeah, and the whole Clint and Coulson subroutines and Tony's snark with that ends up cock-blocking Phil and Clint's time together. So it's an interesting little tidbit. Wolverine, another fire extinguisher issue. The cigar, that happens, yeah. Christmas pops up, and Thor gets Jane a dog. A very large dog, like one of the largest breeds on the planet. And it likes to think that Dum-e is a chew toy. Dum-e doesn't appreciate this much, but he takes it. And at one point, Loki breaks into the tower and ends up in the same room as Dum-e, and Dum-e doesn't back down. He tries basically the shoe protocol for Fury on Loki and won't let Loki do any damage to anything. Well, as much as he can stop him. And Loki kind of admires Dum-e's bravery, and so he stops. And he tells Dum-e that he is a brave robot and that he will see him another day. So I thought that was kind of cute. And that's kind of the end of that section of the series. And the whole thing is just dripping with sweet. It's a cavity story. It's a go have your diabetes levels check story. And then you get to the next one, which is Run Program Dum-e Life. And this is post-Ultron. So you've got Wanda and Pietro. And there's a reason why Pietro's in it, because it's post-Ultron. So Pietro should be dead. Except Wanda couldn't really be without her twin. She couldn't be half. And she is a witch. And in her grief and soul shredding of being half a twin, she didn't figure out really how to get Pietro back. She just did it. She's got no clue how she did it. It just happened. So Pietro lives, and this is an important thing, because when she has nightmares of Ultron and Pietro dying, she wakes up basically screaming life, because that's what she did to get Pietro back. The problem is, it kind of takes a hold on Dum-e. And Tony goes into the workshop to do a couple things, and he says, hey, Dum-e, go grab, I think it's a wrench or something. Bring me that wrench from over there. And Dum-e does it. And all the coding that you read in the first section of the series, Dum-e now speaks. It's his thought process, but he has to say it out. And it scares the crap out of Tony, because Dum-e doesn't have a voice box like that. He's just got the little beeps and the sound he does when he's sad. That was a really poor imitation of it, sorry. So, all of a sudden, Dum-e is saying, running, program, retrieve wrench. And Tony is like, oh shit, Ultron 2.0. And I have a monster back, so if I screech, I'm sorry. But they figure out that it was Wanda, and so they kind of just keep an eye on him. Ow! Stop. Vision is there because Jarvis is gone, and Friday is here now. And the Vision thing it throws Dum-e for a huge loop. Because he doesn't quite know how to deal with Jarvis not being Jarvis and being Vision. So Vision, still having control and override commands to Dum-e, deletes the Jarvis protocol from Dum-e's programming. And that is kind of like a last straw-ish thing for Tony, because it's like cleaning out your dead uncle's. Stop biting Grandma's hand! Stop! Ew. Cleaning out a dead uncle's closet. You know, it's hard to do. I've had to clean out more than one person's house. Ow! Ow! You're being mean. We'll get you milk in a bit. So it kind of breaks open the scars of Jarvis being gone. So the story doesn't start out with Wanda's little nightmare thing. It happens a bit into it. But when it does happen, one of the things that makes them realize that it is just Dum-e in a new incarnation is the fact that he calls himself Speedy Wheels, which is what Steve called him when he got the upgrades and could keep up with him then. So they kind of figure that out, but they're trying to figure out how to put him back to the way he was. Because he's a security risk. He can't not answer things. He can't not say things out loud. He has to speak all of his programming now. Basically, sort of like us saying, get up, go pee. Get up, go eat. That kind of a thing. Pick up cat off table. Those sort of things. Saying what you are physically doing. So Dum-e can't keep any of that programming to himself. If somebody asks him a question, he's going to answer it. Which is not good. So they're trying to figure out how to undo what Wanda did. Except to undo what Wanda did, you have to do the opposite. And to do the opposite of life is death. And Wanda can't do that. Can't and won't. Even in Ultron, and the evil Civil War. Ow! She doesn't kill anyone. She damages them, sure. But mostly she just incapacitates everybody. Ow! Stop! Kitty claws under rings suck. Hi. Why do you want to hurt me? I thought you liked me. I thought I was the good grandma. Okay, eat the fringe on my mouse pad. I don't care. So, she can't kill. It's not her thing. So she spends tons of time with Dum-e trying to figure out how to undo what she did. And it just doesn't happen. But in the meantime, he takes care of her like he does Tony. And this is where you find out the level of who's where on the Protect protocol. Because Tony is trying to console Wanda that it's okay, you'll get it, it's fine. And he gives her a hug, and Pietro comes in at the wrong time and thinks Tony's sitting on her. No walking across the keyboard. We don't need an Icelandic mountain named in the middle of my video, thank you. And so Pietro tries to hurt Tony, and that doesn't work out so well. Because A, Friday, aiming, and B, Dum-e kind of takes care of that. But that's where you find the protocol. Tony's first, Pepper's second, Rhodey's third, Steve's fourth. And I think it's just, he's fourth just because Pepper and Rhodey need a little more protection than Steve does. Because he's not quite as smushy a target as they are. Butthead, stop it! Don't smack my hand! They also realize how much more complex he is now during all this, because they can hear his programs. They hear him run the shame program when Tony insults him, and the sad program, and the official happy program, along with all the actions that he does with these programs. Ow! You're mean. Sorry for all the cat. Ouch. Butthead. At the end of it, she still doesn't know what she did. And she still doesn't know what she does to undo it. But eventually it does happen. Some of the Iron Legion robots go tweaky again and take after Pietro. And she has to stop them, so she stops them. And whatever it is that she does there, it also stops Dum-e from running all of his programs. What are you chewing on? Okay, you can chew on that. And in the meantime, all this is going on, they've found out about the Infinity Stones and the Gauntlet and Thanos. And Dum-e, in his more complex existence than anybody thinks, is trying to work on something with that. So I have a feeling there will be possibly another section to this series after Infinity Wars, so that they can see what goes on in there and how much Tony and everything is involved, so that she can go with that. But at the end, it's still cute. It's still adorable. kind of like this fluff ball here at my arm who keeps trying to eat me and attack and just overall be an obnoxious orange fur ball. And so instead, Dum-e is a cute, adorable, obnoxious silver ball with a claw, a pinching claw, instead of lots and lots of razor fingers. Kitty paws. So it's a good story. You should read it. The code after the first, I don't know, section or so, you just work past it. It just exists. It, you know, read it or not. I kind of did, so I kept track of what day I was on. Just because that's an important thing to my brain. Anybody want an orange fluff ball? He's very cute, but he has very sharp teeth that he wants to use all the time. Yeah, see? Sharp teeth. He's being nice because he's on camera. Or not. Why are you... Now we're eating my earring. Anyways, go read the story. Hi. And there is... Somebody did make cover artwork for it. I will post that link as well as the stories link. Go read it. Read her other stuff. Enjoy. See you next time. I do have a TJ Hammond story I will be reviewing next time. I can't remember which title it is or who made it. Bad person. Should have looked it up before I did the video. I will talk to you all next time.